Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord we got Josh.
Hey.
Let's just crack off with Raw. I know there's a lot of important stuff on SmackDown. We will get to that, but the opening segment on Raw, John Cena. First time we've seen him since he's done his old little heel turn, and I guess as it was posted, no music change, no nothing. It's just John Cena, but now you hate him.
Um, I loved the promo. It was everything it needed to be. It told you what you needed to know. You needed to know, why do we hate John Cena? Well, John Cena turned his back on us because in his mind, he just couldn't stand the fans the way they were treating him for 25 years. And you had, and I will say this, it was perfect to do it in front of an international crowd. Because the international crowds are always amazing. They're always super passionate because they don't get shows that often. And when they do, they're usually house shows and anything goes and they're not that important. This was a Raw uh, that was being broadcast across the world. And there was no. We come to kind of be expected to see a pop for a legend, and then if they're a bad guy, immediately then go to booing. The example of that would be The Rock. When you hear the Rock's music, you often hear a cheer and then switch to boos. But that didn't happen here. It was immediate with the crowd just absolutely booing and going in perfect rhythm with his theme of John Cena sucks.
Yeah, I think you've come accustomed to hearing the dueling "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants. There was no dueling. As you said, it was just a sing along of John Cena sucks.
But but as the promo went along and Cena wove the tapestry of the story through his promo, you heard the crowd getting like more silent, and that is, I think, because it started working on them that, wait a second, I am really the problem. Um, and I think he almost swerved it to a way that he would have turned himself back face if it hadn't been for that exact moment when Cody came out, saving it. Because I think
Yeah,
he had the crowd going. Um, and I like that he barely said anything once Cody came out and let Cody tell his side of the story. Because we all know if Cena really wanted to, he could have destroyed Cody Rhodes in a heartbeat. Because he's done that to so many wrestlers in the past. Austin Theory comes to mind. About the only person that I've seen go toe to toe to him and come out unscathed is The Miz during their feud with the whole Nikki Bella and stuff. And that's because Miz is that good on the mic too. Um, and he had it in a situation where it was very believable in how he was portraying Cena and Nikki, because that was probably actually more real than what anything we actually saw from them on Total Bellas.
yeah. I think the segment did exactly what the segment needed to do, and Cena seems to be enjoying it for all intents and purposes. Bit of a change for him.
Yeah, and the best part is he only addressed the fans. He never talked about why he did what he did to Cody and why he worked with The Rock and what his relationship to is to Rock. That is key because that's stuff that we're going to get in the next couple weeks. As well as we eventually probably will get a verbal beatdown of Cody at some point. But we
Yeah, not
get
just sort of giving everybody everything straight off rip, right? You do have to space it out and develop the story.
and the next couple weeks are in front of international crowds. It'll be perfect crowds to do it in front of. And also, I want to say one other thing. How wonderful is it for you international people that Raw can air at any time and it not be an issue? Because it aired at 3 o'clock our time, American time, on Netflix, which was live during its normal time in in um, where it was aired at.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good seeing it, so accustomed to it being taped, and then you got to wait around until whatever time suits the American television schedule. And so being on a streaming platform, they're like, you know, why the hell not? Just pump it out live. Why not? Um, and then also on Raw, I promise I'll hop off of Raw soon. Pretty much exactly what we expected to happen with the Women's Heavyweight Championship contract signing. Rhea Ripley inserts herself, signs her name on a contract. I'm not sure that's exactly how contract law works, but we are going to be getting the triple threat.
Well, I'm going to point out that this is not the first time that this has happened, where a
Yeah,
person not
WWE
involved in the
contracts are
match.
special.
Yeah, um, because that was the very thing that happened at WrestleMania 20 in a main event that I cannot talk about.
Mhm.
Because Shawn Michaels got involved in it and signed his name to a contract he was not entitled to.
Yeah, a match
Um,
featuring three people, two of which were Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
yeah, and the third ended up winning the match.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, it is. This is what I expected. I I still expect Bianca to win the match. Um, and I think that's sad because it means Io's a transitional champion. But at the same time, she had that big long reign last year up to WrestleMania, so it's not that bad. But it does. It also delays the inevitable between Bianca and Rhea, because I think there is a one-on-one match eventually between them. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting, but it's definitely, I don't see it any women's match being a main event match this year. And that's nothing against them. The story's there. It's fine. It's just there are so many there are like 3 or 4 matches I would put on a main event of night one before any of the women.
I think there, as you say, just is so much, right? Officially announced, I think we still might only have the four um, championship matches, but the rest of the card. Well, not all of the card, but other matches on the card, like the triple threat with Reigns, Rollins, and Punk. These matches are going to come on. They're going to be high profile, and that they are going to absorb those higher up the card spots. It's as simple as day. I think we talked about it at length last week. And it is unfortunate, but I think you got to give those main event slots to the matches that are going to be the highest profile there. And sometimes that's the women's matches, sometimes that's the men's matches. I would love to get to a point where, um, both of the women's championship matches are both the most important storylines coming into WrestleMania, the highest profile matches, and they get main event of night one and night two. Like, that's not
That
out
would
of the
be
realm of possibility.
no. I will say this. I would honestly think there's rumors of them bringing back the Evolution Pro pay per view for the women. I think that should be a permanent thing. I just don't like the name. I think they would need to change it. But I think the women should have a pay per view all to their own that they can build up throughout the year to make it similar to their version of WrestleMania. So that if they don't get a main event spot at WrestleMania, they can get that one and be just important.
Yeah, I would have to sit and see how Evolution or whatever pay per view ends up getting created, how that's implemented. Um, yeah, I would have to see it again. Obviously, we thought it was a one off event. We haven't had one in a while. If it comes back, we'll see what they can do. They've got the talent for it, so why not? But jumping over to another division that often does not main event WrestleManias, the tag team division. SmackDown had this like 5-way, 6-way feud with all of their tag teams floating around. General Manager Nick Aldis trying to explain it to the viewers with a whiteboard and a bunch of lines. Ultimately, all that spun out from that, Street Profits as brand new WWE Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, um, we still don't really know what the Street Profits are. Are they heels? Are they faces? Um, because it's kind of hard to tell at this point. Um, but they definitely accomplished their goal of winning the tag titles, something they couldn't do in the revamped Hurt Business that we thought would take them to the moon, and it buried them harder than John Cena buried the Nexus.
Yeah, we were fully expecting, Street Profits, go heel, they're with Bobby Lashley. Bam, perfect. Recipe for championships. Did nothing. I don't remember the exact thing, but someone said it was a long time ago since the Street Profits have held tag team gold, and um, it's good to see them have it back again. I don't really know where we're going with the SmackDown Tag Team division. I did expect some sort of multi team match, especially as we're heading into WrestleMania. And instead, we switched the titles on SmackDown over to the Street Profits. And much like Sky's winning of the Women's Heavyweight Championship, it starts to confuse me, when you do a title change so close to WrestleMania. Does that mean that the tag team championships are not going to be featured on the card potentially? Or we're going to have to get that 5-6 way tag team match on a SmackDown, but then you're likely to not change the title again because you just changed the titles. So in one hand, it's great because it is, anything can happen on the weekly shows. Don't discount it just because it's not a pay-per-view. But on the other hand, now I'm even more confused about what we're doing with the SmackDown Tag Team division in that WrestleMania season.
Yeah, I can understand that. I still think there'll be a match at WrestleMania because the shows are 3-4 hours long each night. We're going to need some bodies to fill that time. So I think it'll be a multi-team match. Maybe they'll go tornado tag so that you don't have to tag in and stuff,
Mm.
and you can have action all over the place, and it just be the first team that can secure a pinfall wins. Um, but it's fun. It's just the SmackDown Women Tag Team Division. SmackDown Tag Team Division is the bomb. It's got a bunch of great teams, and it's got story that actually matters and seems to make sense. And even if you do have the GM trying to explain the story, um, it's it's fun because it makes you matter because you're paying attention to, well, this team and this team and this team and this team, and they're all interwoven and stuff. So yeah, it'll be fun watching it play out. Hopefully, the Street Profits hold the tag titles for a while because we've had about 4 tag team title changes in the last like 3 or 4 months. It's been flopping around quite a bit.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they end up pulling off, as you say. Any sort of combination of those tag teams, whether it's tornado tag, ladder, whatever's happening, is going to be good. Bunch of great talents, and look forward to seeing what they pull off. But it is time for us to play a song, and given they are the brand new WWE Tag Team Champions, I think it's only fitting to play the theme for the Street Profits. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and I'm going to jump back over to Raw. I'm going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship, because God knows that's more interesting than the United States Championship right now. Bron Breakker, he had his match defending the title against Finn Balor. It was a miscommunication with Dominic Mysterio continuing that wedge into the Judgment Day that ultimately led to Bron retaining before he gets a good old stare down from Penta.
This is going to be interesting. Again, it's another theme that's like, well, this could be a one-on-one match because it could end up being just Braun versus Penta, which would be fine. I think it would be a phenomenal match. But there's also like, we could see this being like a multi-man ladder match or something, and it being just fine and making sense because like that whiteboard for the tag team division, Braun Breaker is circled by like 8 people right now that could legitimately challenge him for the title, and it makes sense. I I have grown to think that the person I want to beat Braun Breaker, well, maybe not beat him, but win the title from him, is Dominic Mysterio.
Oh.
I I think that there's something there. I like I've loved the stuff Dominic has done in the last 3 years since he joined Judgment Day. The way he's broken out, the way he's developed his character, um, and it would be interesting seeing him go to that get that title. So I would say let's make it a ladder match, throw him into it, and you could give him the win and have him win the title without directly beating Braun Breaker. And then you could have him be the cowardly heel that we know he would be as champion because he was that when he was North American champion. And then you can spin off Braun Breaker and get him ready for the Money in the Bank run or next year's uh, Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think that that Raw mid card really, we just need to see how it's going to develop, right? We know all of the pieces there. We know Ludwig and Butch, sorry, Pete Dunne, were orbiting each other. We know Logan Paul, AJ Styles are beefing. We know Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor are beefing. We know Penta is facing down with Braun Breaker. You could give us, 4 singles matches, or you could give us an 8-way multi-person match, or you could give us a 6-way multi-person and a singles. You could give us a fatal 4-way, 2 sets of singles. So many different combinations of those feuds that are happening in that Raw mid card. To me, that's like the epitome of a mid card division. Raw is doing amazing right now.
Yeah, I will say this. There is one possibility that I could see maybe happening that I like. I just don't like it as much as Dominic walking out with the Intercontinental title. But there is a possibility because there was a promo on SmackDown that seems to indicate being directed towards Penta's brother, Ray. What if it's Braun Breaker versus Penta for the Intercontinental title and LA Knight versus Ray for the US title? And the
Yeah,
Lucha Brothers win titles at WrestleMania. Um,
you've seen my horribly photoshopped image that I'm sending into the group chat.
yeah.
It's definitely something I could see. I could see it even not being a singles match, right? Like Penta could go into a 6-way match and come out on top. Um, and the United States title, ugh, no one knows what's happening with that. Um, and I don't know, it feels like Penta has had nothing but momentum since coming in. And if you're putting him against Braun, and the end of Raw is pretty clear now, we talk about the other mid carders and we're like, oh, they could be into the title feud, they could not be into the title feud. Braun and Penta in some form is happening. Whether there's other people in the match or whether it's a 1 versus 1, whether it's at WrestleMania or in the Raws leading up, whatever, they're colliding. And I could very well see Penta coming out on top when it comes to that Intercontinental Championship. Um, Not that Braun's been a bad champion, Braun's been amazing. Just seems as though the momentum is with Penta.
Yeah, and we're also in the position of thinking that Braun needs to be on his way out of where he is right now towards the main event because we know Braun Breaker is a main event talent.
Mhm.
He just needs to get there, and while he's doing a great job as an Intercontinental Champion, it is an anchor that's holding him back. And as fast as he is, imagine he don't have that anchor.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what match we end up getting at WrestleMania in the coming weeks when it comes to that Intercontinental Championship. But you did mention some promos over on SmackDown that I do want to bring up. There's been a lot of chatter, right? We got some promos on SmackDown, potentially hinting towards some debuts, some returns, whatever that ends up being. And then we're going to do the thing that I hate to do. We're going to turn to the dirt sheets. We got Ray Phoenix in the wings, as you said, Penta's brother. We got Aleister Black potentially coming back on over. You've got Rusev / Miro. There's a few people in the wings, and I think we talked about a month ago specifically about Black and Miro. or Rusev, about whether we thought they were going to be pre WrestleMania or whether we were going to wait until after WrestleMania. Now you add Ray Phoenix into the mix. Do you think we're going to get any big debuts or returns prior to that WrestleMania that maybe these video packages are hinting towards, or completely unrelated?
I don't know, but that's why I kind of threw out the whole Ray Phoenix stuff.
Mhm,
Because I think of the three that you mentioned, the most likely to return/debut at WrestleMania is Ray Phoenix.
mhm.
I think the other two would be the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, um,
Yeah, they give
or
me those
maybe
vibes as well.
or NXT, because I could see Aleister Black going down to NXT. I don't see Rusev going down there, but that is an option. Um, but I really think that there's a possibility they. You remember when Cody returned and they did this big mystery match with Seth. Um, I could see that maybe LA Knight issuing an open challenge for the U.S. title at WrestleMania to get the title on the show, and the person that answers it is Ray Phoenix. Although I
Yeah.
could easily be, or one of the three that we're talking about here. Um,
I think that's how you could keep the sort of shock factor still there. If you bring out Ray, or by whatever name he will be going by under WWE, you bring him out beforehand on a SmackDown and you set up the match. It's like, okay, it's going to be a cool match, but that's the match we're getting. Now, with so many rumored names swirling around, and now you go, LA Knight's doing an open challenge. Now you're like, no matter who comes out, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be, shocked. I'm going to be reacting to it. And so I think that's a great idea, and sort of harkens back to the United States Open challenges of past as well.
I think. By the way, I do want to say something about something you said.
Mhm.
I don't think they'll change his name,
Fair.
largely because they didn't change Penta's. I think if they had changed Penta's name, then you'd have an argument. But I think they'll bring him in as Ray Phoenix.
I don't know a super enough about Penta, and it's not going to load. Oh, no, Wikipedia is loading up fast enough. Yeah, he's gone by so many different combinations of his name that I could not tell you what combination he's used, uh, or where he's used Penta on just its own previously. I think Ray Phoenix goes by just Phoenix as well. Um, Potentially at the moment, I don't know. Whether you want to call him Penta Al Zero, Penta Al Mid, or is like Pentagon Dark, Penta, is like 50 million options. I do think we'll probably get some combination of Ray Phoenix or just Phoenix on its own. Like some combination of the name that we expect and know who it's gonna be, similar as you said to Penta.
Yeah,
Just which
yeah.
name off of his list they take. Yeah,
I would say most likely if they do change it, it'll be Phoenix. I
yeah,
think I think that's way better than anything else that they probably could come up with for it because there's already a Rey Mysterio, so you can't call him
true.
Rey. Um, so yeah, I think if they do shorten it, it'll be just Phoenix, which will be fine because I think people would just call him Phoenix anyway,
Yeah.
largely because of Rey Mysterio. And you can't call Rey Mysterio because of Dominic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I would put money on Phoenix. I think it'd be a great name for him. And when you talk about like Penta and Phoenix next to each other, they sort of match without matching, um, and it works quite well. Well, we got about a minute left. Is there anything from Raw or from SmackDown or even from NXT that you want to throw out for the last minute to make sure we get it on the show?
Axiom on SmackDown.
He's coming.
Yeah, yeah. We have been like, are they breaking up? Are they not on the NXT? Whenever we have talked about NXT, but it was nice seeing Axiom on the main roster working with Gunther
Hmm.
and getting to show off. It wasn't some just beat down of Axiom. He
Yeah.
got offense off. He got to mess. He got to hit his finish on the Ring General. It was a phenomenal quotation marks debut for Axiom. He's possibly somebody we could see maybe coming up in a draft or in the post WrestleMania call-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was a great way of introducing him as at least a wrestler.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a good showing for sure. Anyone can have a good match with Gunther, and Axiom's no slouch either. He made it real easy.
I mean, they did have a match in NXT UK, so it's not like they hadn't worked before.
That's fair. All right, well, that is all we have time for this week. It has been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND Up, and we will catch you next week.